Hello, everyone. You're watching Eagle News America. I'm Thomas I. Likeness, broadcasting from our studio in Edmonton, Canada. It's November 30th, 2020. In the news today, we have updates from several of our correspondents across North America. Mayanne Manzano-Gerzon in Sicklerville, New Jersey.
New Jersey retightens limit on outdoor gathering, and Governor Murphy places all indoor youth and adult sports on pause.
Jane Kathleen Gregorio in Corpus Christi, Texas.
Dallas and Houston airports rank highest in the state for COVID-19 positive TSA employees. And one of last Pearl Harbor survivors dies.
Alex Gilman in North Hills, California.
Los Angeles launches e-commerce initiative for small businesses.
El Marie Gonzalez in South Haven, Mississippi reports on National Mississippi Day. Plus, Eagle business reporter Bobby Soriano reports on Black Friday going online, Facebook advertising glitches, and DoorDash's plans to go public. For ABC Sports, Melissa Potus in Orlando, Florida will tell us about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You know, they fell short in their comeback efforts against the Super Bowl champs, the Kansas City Chiefs. And, of course, tonight's roundtable discussion, ways to use the classic mason jar. And you know why? Because it's National Mason Jar Day. Our coverage begins now. First, an overview of how COVID looks now. According to the Coronavirus Resource Center of Johns Hopkins University in Medicine, as of 6 p.m. Eastern Time today, the number of COVID-19 reported cases worldwide, more than 62,924,000. Top three on the list of countries with recorded cases: the United States, 13.3 million. India, 9.4 million. Brazil, 6.3 million. And sadly, more than 1,462,000 lives worldwide have been lost to this virus. The top three countries with the most number of COVID-19 related deaths are the United States with more than 266,000, Brazil more than 172,000, and India more than 137,000 people have died as a result of the coronavirus infection. Now, these numbers, at least in the United States, are likely to get worse. America's top scientist, Dr. Anthony Fauci, says the country should prepare for a surge upon surge in coronavirus cases over the next 2 to 3 weeks. The warning comes as millions of travelers return home after the Thanksgiving holiday. Travel surrounding Thursday's holiday made this the busiest week at U.S. airports since the pandemic began. More than 1 million people boarded planes at the country's airports yesterday, and Fauci says there will be an increase in cases because of that travel. And as the December holiday season approaches in the next couple of weeks, Fauci expects another increase. Again, that surge upon surge. These travelers that you see here are departing from Chicago. They didn't seem to be worried about being infected.
About the whole social distancing thing, because, I mean, we're supposed to wear masks on the flight, so that should keep us safe. Try to stay safe, do the best you can to stay safe, wear your mask, and don't think that just because of COVID you can't travel, because you can always stay away from people and still enjoy where you're at.
You don't know when you're gonna run into it. You know, it's everywhere, it's in the air, you never know, you know. So it's just keeping precaution and trying to stay calm, not to panic, and then just do what the CDC says.
Now, upon landing, the first stop for many was a COVID test site. This was the scene today in Los Angeles as people lined up at a test site to do self-swabs. News from the White House today that the first vaccines might be available for distribution in about 2 weeks. U.S. Secretary of Health and Human Services Alex Azar made that announcement on CBS this morning.
With Pfizer, we at the FDA announced an advisory committee for December the 10th, and if everything is on track, everything proves out what it appears to be, we could be looking at approval within days after that. Moderna is basically 1 week behind that, and General Perna has said from Operation Warp Speed that we'll ship within 24 hours of FDA authorization. So we could be seeing both of these vaccines out and getting into people's arms before Christmas.
Azar expects the ad campaigns promoting these vaccines to begin later this week. The head of the World Health Organization says he will do everything he can to find out where COVID-19 came from. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus says it's important to find out the animal origins of the virus.
Committed to do everything it can based on science and solutions to find the origin. And that's the basics. We need to do the basics. And we will not stop from knowing the truth on the origin of the virus, but based on science, without politicizing it or trying to create tension in the process.
The United States has been harshly critical of WHO's handling of the crisis. It has accused the agency of kowtowing to China and of dragging its feet on investigating how the outbreak first started. Other critics have also voiced concern that the agency may have allowed China to dictate the terms of an international investigation into the origins of the virus. U.S. President-elect Joe Biden nursing a sore foot today. You can see him here as he's leaving his doctor's office. Biden has a hairline fracture in the midfoot. It happened after he slipped while playing with his dog. His personal doctor, Kevin O'Connell, I should say, says Biden, who is 78, will likely have to wear a walking boot for several weeks. The president-elect has 2 German Shepherd dogs, and they're going to be taking up residence at the White House after Biden's inauguration. You know, there's been no dogs at the White House for the last 4 years. President Donald Trump, who's a germaphobe, was the first president in more than 100 years not to have a dog. Well, we go from dogs to cats. Now, you've heard of cat ladies, the stereotypical woman who lives alone with dozens of felines. Well, meet Mariam El-Balushi. She lives in Muscat, which is the capital of Oman. Her companions are 480 cats and 12 dogs. Mariam rescued most of the felines from the streets. She was orphaned at a young age, and she says she identifies with her furry friends. How much does this cost her? She figures she spends about $7,800 a month to care for her menagerie. And just how do you keep order in a house with that many creatures? Well, she's got several cages, lets the animals out in rotations so they can play and exercise. The only thing I can't imagine this. I would think cleaning the litter box would be a full-time job. Up next, we've got reports from Sicklerville, New Jersey and Fort Washington, Maryland. Eagle News America continues.
Hello there. Imagine Demi got the virus and she infected 2 more. And those 2 infected a lot more of people. And it goes on and on until it became an epidemic. But what if Demi stayed at home? Then those 2 wouldn't have contracted the virus. Then those people would have not been infected. This is not just your battle, it's everyone's, and you can be a huge help. Follow social distancing, or better yet, stay at home.
We know that this is a scary time for all of us.
The coronavirus is changing the world.
Changing our lives.
So please,
take care of yourself.
Keep your distance.
Wash your hands.
And if you can, stay at home.
We at DW
are here for you.
We are working tirelessly to keep you informed on all of our platforms.
We're all in this together.
And together,
we'll make it through.
Stay safe, everybody.
Stay safe.
Stay safe.
Stay safe.
Please, stay safe.
Events happen around us all the time. In our community, in our country, around the world. Events that affect people, move communities, or simply inspire us. Interesting events that people need to know. In these interesting times, we continue to be a competent partner in delivering news about these events. Fast, accurate, balanced. Eagle News, because we live in interesting times.
You're watching Eagle News America. I'm Thomas I. Likeness. Well, there's more restrictions in New Jersey. Limits on outdoor gatherings are being tightened again, and the governor has put all indoor youth and adult sports on hold. Eagle News correspondent Mayanne Manzano-Gerson is standing by. She joins us from Sicklerville this evening. Good evening, Mayanne. What's prompted Governor Murphy to take these measures?
Good evening, Tom. Well, New Jersey retightens limit on outdoor gathering, like what you said in Trenton today. November 30th, Governor Phil Murphy announced in an effort to fight the second wave of the coronavirus that he is lowering New Jersey's outdoor gathering limit for the second time this month to only 25 people amidst the busy holiday season. This latest restriction takes effect at 6 in the morning on December 7th and will be in place indefinitely. Moreover, the governor also announced all indoor organized sports at the youth, high school, and adult recreation levels, both games and practices, will be suspended for 4 weeks, which will take effect on Saturday, December 5th at 6 in the morning and last until January 2nd, 2021. Take a look.
Effective this Saturday at 6 a.m., December 5th, all indoor youth and adult sports, including both practices and competitions, and inclusive of all risk levels set forth by the Department of Health, are being placed on a full and complete pause through January 2nd, 2021. The only exceptions are for collegiate level and professional teams. This aligns, by the way, with both the efforts of the NJSIAA and those of our neighboring states. We do not take this step lightly. As folks probably know, I'm a huge sports fan, and all of our kids play sports. I hope and intend to see the winter sports season in January. I want to see especially that high school senior get to play her or his last season, and I value the importance of sports for the physical and mental well-being of our children. But we are seeing outbreaks related to indoor sports, and this is a prudent, short-term step to slow the spread. And effective 6 a.m. Monday, December 7th, and until further notice, the gathering limit for all outdoor activities will be no more than 25 individuals. The only exceptions here remain for religious or political activities, which enjoy constitutional protection, and funerals, memorial services, and wedding ceremonies. And let me reiterate that separate groups who are dining outdoors at our restaurants do not constitute a single gathering. Outdoor dining is unaffected by today's announcement and continues to be governed by the health and safety regulations already in place. So while we know that outdoor environments are safer than indoor environments, and there's no question about that, during this dangerous period, any type of mass gathering creates risk. As you start to make your holiday plans, please recognize that the gathering limits are back to what they were in May and June, when we all came together and crushed the curve as much as any state in the United States. We continue to urge you to keep gatherings as small as possible, particularly with individuals outside of your household. As I've said, our steps continue to be dictated by careful analysis of science and data, and on Wednesday we are planning on providing a deeper dive into our current second wave modeling to give you all a better idea of what it is we are potentially up against.
Today, the Department of Health of New Jersey reported 3,199 new positive COVID-19 cases, bringing a cumulative total to 337,304 New Jerseyans who have tested positive. Sadly, we are also reporting 15 new confirmed COVID-19 deaths, pushing the total to 15,164 lives lost. To learn more about New Jersey's COVID situation, visit covid19.nj.gov. And for some weather update, Thomas, it's currently 8:55 here in the evening here in New Jersey, and it's mostly cloudy. Though it was raining all day with thunderstorm conditions with low visibility. It is now 57 degrees Fahrenheit or 14 degrees Celsius. The high today was forecast as 66 degrees Fahrenheit or 19 degrees Celsius. In Sicklerville, New Jersey, May and Manzano Garzon, Eagle News, we live in interesting times. Back to you, Thomas.
Thanks, Mayanne, and I'm still jealous about your weather, although we got up to 6 degrees today here, and that's what it's sitting at right now, and it's 6:55 here in Edmonton in the frozen north. But what I wanted to ask you about was, Mayanne, what's the science behind the decision of placing a pause on sports?
Well, Thomas, it's interesting you asked, because during the briefing earlier today, Dr. Ed Lifshitz, the medical director of the State Department of Health's Communicable Disease Service here in New Jersey, said that youth sports have resulted in number of outbreaks here in New Jersey. He also cited an example where there have been 20 outbreaks and more than 100 cases tied to youth hockey. And that's the reason why the pause will help slow the spread of the virus. And also Governor Murphy, as he mentioned in the report, that there have been 28 outbreaks, all tied to indoor sports in the state, affecting 170 New Jerseyans. Thomas?
Well, hopefully we can get this under control. We can get that curve flattened. People can get back to doing recreational things like sports, and we can all stay safe. Thank you for joining us this evening, Mayanne, and you take care.
Thank you, Tom.
We go to Corpus Christi, Texas now. Bureau Chief Jane Kathleen Gregorio tells us that several TSA agents in Dallas and Houston have tested positive for COVID, and as well a bit of sad news. One of the last survivors of the Pearl Harbor attack has died. Good evening, Jane, and thank you for joining us.
Good evening, Thomas, and howdy from the Lone Star State. As holiday travel increases this winter season, TSA workers are among those who are working on the front line and are exposed to a variety of people from all corners of the globe. According to the Transportation Security Administration website, the TSA currently has 622 employees with active COVID-19 infections. Since the start of the pandemic, the TSA has had a total of 3,338 federal employees who tested positive for COVID-19, but among those numbers, 2,716 have already recovered, and a total of 10 deaths. The most recent being a man from Midland, Texas International Air and Spaceport, who passed away on November 21, 2020, after contracting COVID-19. As of November 26, Dallas-Fort Worth, or DFW Airport, has had the highest number of actively positive cases, totaling 115, with Houston's George Bush International just behind at 86. On its website, TSA stated its commitment to notifying the public about airport locations where TSA employees or contractors have tested positive for COVID-19. Those individuals are staying home to help keep the traveling public safe. The TSA advises passengers who believe they may have come in contact with an infected individual within the past 14 days to follow the CDC's recommendations for travel-associated exposure. Meanwhile, we go to Corpus Christi, where the funeral services of Pearl Harbor survivor, veteran Abner James, also known as A.J. Dunn, will be held at 11:30 a.m. Tuesday at Seaside Memorial Park in Corpus Christi, Texas, where he was born on October 23, 1922. Nearly 60 years have passed since the shocking events of that cold morning of December 7, 1941. And according to his obituary, Seaman First Class A.J. Dunn had joined the Navy in October of 1940 and was stationed in Pearl Harbor, Hawaii as a mine layer. Dunn is survived by his wife, Grace Dunn, his daughter, and grandchildren. Hope you are doing well in your part of North America, Thomas. In Corpus Christi, Texas, I'm Jane Kathleen Gregorio, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Thomas?
Thank you, Kathleen. And I understand the Pearl Harbor story, very, very sad to see one of the last veterans from the Pearl Harbor attack. But I understand there's a Corpus Christi connection to Pearl Harbor.
Yes, there is actually, Thomas. Here in Corpus Christi, we actually have the battleship, the USS Lexington, that's also docked here. It originally called or nicknamed the Blue Ghost, and it was also used during World War II. And currently it's a museum, and it's one of the most visited landmarks here in Corpus Christi. As a matter of fact, there were some scenes of the movie Pearl Harbor that were shot in Corpus Christi utilizing the USS Lexington. Thomas?
Fascinating. Thank you for joining us this evening, Jane Kathleen. And take care and stay safe.
You too.
Still to come, I'll have stories from North Hills, California and South Haven, Mississippi. This is Eagle News America.
Turuan din natin ang mga bata ng tamang paghugas ng mga kamay. Basain ang kamay ng tubig at lagyan ng sabon. Kuskusin ang iyong mga palad. Gayon din ang pagitan ng mga daliri. Pati na ang likod ng mga palad at daliri. Ganon din ang iyong hinalaki, kasama ang mga dulo ng iyong mga daliri. Pagkatapos ay iyong kalapulsuhan. Gawin ito ng kahit 20 segundo. Pagkatapos ay banlawan ng tubig at patuyuin.
Hi everyone! Net25 Kids is inviting you to EBC Webinars 2020, a series of educational and informative webinars for teachers and parents, which will be live-streamed via Net25 Kids YouTube page. We will be featuring several guest speakers with years of experience to share information that would be valuable and helpful for teachers and parents as they educate and manage their children in these interesting times. Hope you will join us! For updates, schedules, and more information, please follow the Net25 Kids Facebook page.
Hey there, Arnie Aquino here at Hatley Castle, one of the filming locations for the X-Men series. Don't forget to tune in to Digital Nest only on Net25.
You're watching Eagle News America. I'm Thomas I. Likeness. The city of Los Angeles offering a helping hand to small businesses trying to sell their goods online. Standing by in North Hill, California, we have Eagle News correspondent Alex Skillman. Thank you for joining us this evening, Alex.
Thank you, Thomas. Small businesses throughout Los Angeles, especially among Black owners, continue to struggle amid surging COVID-19 cases and updated health orders. Even with all the Black Friday promotions, with Los Angeles shoppers looking for the best sales and deals of the season this past long holiday weekend, many small store owners are still recovering from the financial impacts on business revenues with previous business closures and limited capacities in stores and reduced sales. As COVID-19 cases and hospitalizations continue to rapidly increase throughout the city and county, LA public health officials respond with updated health officer orders for more restrictive measures to lessen the spread of the virus and maintain the health and safety of all Angelenos. More setbacks and decreased revenues loom in the future as these new restrictions directly affect stores and companies, specifically the small businesses and owners in the Black community. Food, places, and specialty stores are among those greatly impacted during this pandemic. Just after closing their indoor dining rooms, restaurants were forced to also close their outside dining areas with the new restrictions that took effect last Wednesday. Specialty stores like one-of-a-kind hats in Los Angeles are among those greatly impacted. Many are forced to rely on their savings and turn to federal relief loans to stay in business. In response, the city of Los Angeles launches their LA Optimized initiative to enable small business owners to extend online for e-commerce in the road to recovery during this pandemic. LA Optimized will provide the support and tools needed to make their company websites, market their products, transition to the online world, and so much more. In North Hills, California, I'm Alex Skillman, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you, Thomas.
Alec, you know, we're always hearing about these great initiatives from Los Angeles, but they don't come cheap. They cost money. There's lots of costs associated with these great programs. How much funding will be allocated for this project?
Well, Thomas, the Office of the Mayor aims to reserve over $1 million to fund this program. Mayor Giuseppe fully supports this initiative in his recent explanation on how COVID-19 has changed everything. The way we communicate, work, socialize, and even shop. Stores need to rapidly rethink how they reach their customers, market their goods, sell their products, and thrive when there's so much business happening online. Small businesses are one of the driving forces behind Los Angeles economy. So the city is definitely 100% behind this project. Thomas?
Well, I guess it's the old story. You've got to spend money to make money. Thanks for joining us this evening, Alec. And again, stay safe. We're going to go to that great state of Mississippi now, south of the Mason-Dixon line. Eagle News correspondent El Marie Gonzalez is in South Haven, and she's going to tell us about National Mississippi Day.
Thank you and happy National Mississippi Day to you from South Haven, Mississippi. Miss M, Miss I, Miss SSI, Miss S, Miss S, Miss IPPI. I can't remember how and where I heard this, but this is how I learned to spell the word Mississippi. In 2017, NationalCalendarDay.com officially began celebrating the day of each state in order of the day it entered the Union. November 30 marks the day Mississippi became the 20th state of the Union, hence National Mississippi Day. Mississippi was named after the Mississippi River, which flows into the Gulf of Mexico, creating the state's western border. Its name comes from the Native American word Mississippi, which means Great River. Mississippi's capital is Jackson, and its state's flower is the magnolia.
Thus, the state is nicknamed the Magnolia State. For slaves who were working in the fields and African spirituals, this style of music had been their escape from oppression and means of expressions for many African Americans. One of the ways you can celebrate National Mississippi Day is to learn about its history by visiting the Museum of Mississippi History and the Mississippi Civil Rights Museum, whether online or in person, using the proper health and safety precautions. You can also learn about the Mississippi government and view the latest press releases by visiting ms.gov. And for those of you seeking adventure, check out visitmississippi.org, the official state tourism website, and discover where you can enjoy social distancing in the great outdoors, national parks, campgrounds, as well as places to enjoy Southern cooking and cultural events. In South Haven, Mississippi, I am Elmarie Gonzalez. Eagle News. We'll live in interesting times.
Well, I'll tell you, Elmarie, I remember where I learned MISSISSIPPI. It was grade 4, Mrs. Martin's class. That's how I learned how to spell Mississippi. Great report. And up next, we've got more great reports. Today's business news, we've got EBC Sports, and of course, our virtual roundtable. Mason jars, the topic. You're watching Eagle News America.
Hindi mo ba alam, mauubos daw ang mga tissue products? Bakit naman? Ang raw materials daw ng mask at tissue products ay iisa lang. Saan naman galing ang balitang yan? Ay basta, narinig ko lang din. Maraming dilim kayang nagpo-post sa Facebook at Twitter, kaya kung ako sa'yo, kumuha ka na din. Sige na't mauna na ako sa'yo
Huwag basta-basta magpaniwala
sa mga nakikita
o nababasa sa social media.
Magsaliksik at i-verify ang lahat ng impormasyon
nakukuha sa internet.
Tandaan,
maging responsable tayo
sa paggamit ng social media
nang hindi magdulot ng panic sa iba.
Kung paanong dapat labanan ng COVID-19
ay gayon din ang ating pagsugpo
sa black propaganda
at maling impormasyon.
Dennis Lu,
Lou Omelda,
General Partosa,
Tyranel Pililu,
Hannibal Arevalo,
EBC,
Japan, Europe. We live in interesting times.
Innovation, digital disruption, globalization. Startups, micro, small, and medium enterprises, as well as large corporations, all face interesting challenges in the market today. Peek into the world of exciting opportunities and partnerships to drive growth with the latest business news and information. We are open for business. Join the conversations to create a more vibrant environment for entrepreneurship. Catch Open for Business every Saturday from 5 to 6 p.m. Open for Business, from vision to action.
Malalayong lugar ang kanilang narating para maghanap buhay. Tulungan ang pamilyang iniwan sa sariling bayan. Yan ang ating mga overseas Filipino worker. Pero dahil sa di pangkaraniwang pangyayaring hatid ay krisis, may ilan sa kanilang nagpasyang umuwi. Pinagyaman ang sariling lupain, nagtayo ng negosyo na kasama sa puhunan ang sipag at tiyaga. Ang mga OFW, maraming sakripisyo, ninanais maging kapaki-pakinabang maging sa kanilang pagbabalik bansa. Sapagkat ang ating mga bagong bayani, Pilipino pa rin sa puso at damdamin.
The search for the best continues. Tagisan ng Galing Part 2 is now accepting audition entries. If you are 21 to 59 years old and have what it takes to be the next Tagisan ng Galing Grand Winner as a solo performer, duet, trio, band, or grouped act, submit your audition entries now. Just follow these guidelines. To submit audition entries for the singing category, contact Nikki at 0977-651-9504. This is your chance to be Tagisan ng Galing's grand winner and win 2 million pesos. For more details and updates, visit and like the Tagisan ng Galing Facebook page. What are you waiting for? Join now!
May sakit na lumalaganap, lunas di pa nahahanap. May paraan para wag kumalat, kaalaman ay ipamalas. Pag-aralan o dalinga, simulan ang disiplina. Mapahamak ay hindi na, lahat ito ay makakaya. May tamang paraan ng paghuhugas ng kamay. Distansya, pila-pila, takpan ng stay sa bahay. Umaging kaisa tayo, kabilang sa pagsubok. Sama-sama natin talunin. Stop the COVID-19. Stop the COVID-19.
Yo! Lahat tayo ay nababahala. Ang dami ng gawain na naaantala. Atensyon nyo'y kailangan ng italaga. Kailangan mo na magtiis at magtiyaga. Yes! Kalusugan ay kaligtasan, lumalalang sakit ay kayang iwasan. Mag-ingat, sumunod, ito'y malulunasan. Darating din ang ginhawa ng kinabukasan. Ha!
May tamang paraan ng paghuhugas ng kamay. Distansya, pila-pila, takpan ng bibig. Stay sa bahay. Umaging kaisa tayo, kabilang sa pagsubok. Sama-sama nating talunin. Stop the COVID-19. Stop the COVID-19. Umaging kaisa tayo, kabilang sa pagsubok. Sama-sama nating talunin. Stop the COVID-19. Stop the COVID-19.
Sila ang mga kinikilalang bayaning may mahalagang papel para makamit ang kalayaan at pagbabago sa Pilipinas. Pero sa panahong ito, may mga bagong bayaning nakikipaglaban sa sakit na lumaganap sa buong daigdig, ang COVID-19. Ang ating mga frontliner, gaya ng healthcare workers, mga doktor, nurses, medical technologists, at iba pang health professionals, mga pulis, sundalo, security guards, mga tauhan na nangangalaga sa seguridad at mahahalagang pangangailangan ng bawat komunidad. Ang mga bagong bayani, ating pasalamatan. Kilalanin ang kanilang sakripisyo at serbisyo para sa lahat.
And to the Eagle Business Desk now, where we hear from Eagle News business correspondent Bobby Soriano.
Good evening. U.S. markets have closed. Here are your latest business headlines. Black Friday, considered one of the busiest shopping days of the season, with malls filled to the brim with shoppers in years past, was nothing like that in the era of the new normal. Reports from multiple research firms are showing that foot traffic into physical stores was down about 50% from levels seen the year prior. On a positive note, however, a 22% jump in online sales from the year prior was also recorded, making it the second best online shopping day ever recorded according to Adobe Analytics. It remains to be seen whether or not the jump in online sales will be able to offset the loss in in-person shopping, but businesses such as Amazon and Walmart had anticipated the decrease in foot traffic and offered many of their Black Friday deals during the weeks leading up to the holiday. Facebook is once again in the news today, and for reasons that are making advertisers nervous. The company announced it will be providing millions of dollars in credits to advertisers who use their platform after discovering a glitch in its conversion lift tool that was overestimating how much of an impact advertising campaigns were actually having on users. Advertisers are especially worried by Facebook's announcement, as it comes at a time when businesses need to rely on online shopping channels to remain profitable during the pandemic. While the glitch is of concern, it will most likely not deter advertisers from using the platform in the future, as advertisements on the platform have the possibility of being seen by Facebook's over 2.7 billion monthly active users as of second quarter 2020. Lastly, food delivery service DoorDash Inc. has revealed its plans for an IPO that would value the company as much as $32 billion. The company, known for its platform that provides easy access to deliverable prepared meals from restaurants, will be offering to sell 33 million shares at an offering price between $75 and $85 a share, with its founders maintaining 69% voting power after the IPO. DoorDash announced that the proceeds from the IPO would go to fund general-purpose projects, including operating expenses and capital spending. The announcement of the IPO comes after Airbnb's announcement of an IPO at a target valuation of $30 billion to $33 billion, showing that investors are still showing much interest in the maturing tech sector. U.S. indices closed in the red today, finishing off a month with double-digit gains for all three exchanges. Reporting from New York, Bobby Soriano, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
Well, it was a match of quarterbacks as Super Bowl champion Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs faced off against Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And you know, at first it looked like it was going to be a blowout, but then things got very interesting. We have more on that from EBC sports correspondent Melissa Potes.
Despite a slow start, the Tampa Bay Bucs, led by quarterback Tom Brady, were short of a comeback against the Super Bowl champs, Kansas City Chiefs. Tampa Bay's head coach Bruce Arians and Brady discussed the loss and what it's like to face Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, we battled back. We unfortunately, left ourselves a big deficit to start. Got off to a slow start. Couldn't convert any third downs. Just poor execution early and get behind and players got to do a better job. We got to make the plays that are there. And certainly when you play good offensively, we got to do our job and stay on the field, keep them off the field. Yeah, I think, football is so much about that, being in rhythm and staying in rhythm and finding your rhythm. And I think as we keep going forward, we're learning more and more about ourselves, about what we need to do, and going to get back to work and try to do a lot better job the last quarter of the season.
We just missed third down. We have very, very, very manageable third downs, and
they did a real good job in their blitz package, and we didn't handle it as an offense. Same answer. It's third down conversions. And most of them have been 7 or less, where we've been pretty good all season. Just early in the game, for whatever reason, we're not making the plays, not getting open, not protecting, just not making enough plays. It's very frustrating because very, very few guys I've ever seen in this league or any league that can backpedal 8 to 9, 10, 11 yards in the pocket and throw a dime 25 yards down the field. He has unbelievable skill set. And we had a lot of good rushers on him, and he just keeps backpedaling away from it and slings a sidearm or whatever and he can read the defense as he does it, which makes him, even more explosive.
For more sports updates, make sure to tune in to Eagle News. In Orlando, Florida, Melissa Potas, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
Well, you know what time it is now? Come on, gang, let's gather around the virtual roundtable, keep our social distance. And what's our topic today? Well, let's keep it timely. Today is National Mason Jar Day. You know what a mason jar is? Well, let's find out how you can use this classic glassware. Now, mason jars were invented back in 1858. It's a molded glass jar. It's used in home canning to preserve food. There's a kind of a screw thread on the top of the jar. I wish I had one here, but I don't, because we just don't can fruit and vegetables. Anyway, there's a whole lot of uses you could find for mason jars, and we're going to go around the table now, find out who's got them and what do you use them for. Let's begin with you, Eliza.
Thanks, Thomas. Mason jars, they're one of my favorite household items. So let me share with you how I use them in the house. First, we use them as drinking glasses. As a drinking glass. I have a set of this, a set of 8, I think, and this is the only drinking glass we have at the here in the house. Also, hold on. It's kind of heavy. We use this huge one to, this is a gift actually from a very good friend. I used it as a sugar container. My daughter, one of my daughters, she bakes a lot, and we finally found a good container for her sugar when she bakes. And this is my favorite. Are you ready for this, Thomas?
I'm ready.
We use it, this large jar. We use it as a piggy bank. All our dollar bills go in here, and the coins that we get from change, we put them all here. And if you see, there's a photo. Hold on, there. That's a photo. Hey! Okay, there. That's a photo of our dream destination as a family. One day.
Where is that dream destination?
This is the Maldives. The Maldives. So I don't know if the stuff here could take us there, but it would help. I'm pretty sure maybe for cab fare.
Like a small fortune there.
Yes. So maybe after 10 years, we can finally afford to go there. So that's how we use our mason jars here in the house. Tom?
Okay, we're going to go over to the West Coast and ask Alec, do you have mason jars? What do you use them for?
Well, Thomas, I have one right here. It's a lot smaller than Eliza's. As for, we also use it for water as well, like just to drink. We have a few of these. And then I've read you can also use them, of course, as storage, like coins, like vegetables and all that stuff. You can actually poke holes on the lid, and you can turn it into like a miniature salt shaker, sugar, salt, pepper, and all that. What else? There's so many uses, but the one mostly is just water for us over here. Well, back to you.
They seem to be commonly used for drinking out of. And actually, there was a rock band. I think they're a Canadian rock band. They called themselves Wide Mouth Mason. That was the name of the band. And I presume they named themselves after the mason jar. Mayan, you look like you might have heard of that band.
Well, actually not, Tom, but I laughed or smiled because the name of my mason jar here is Wide Mouth. So this is the name of the band that you just mentioned. Yeah. This is a Wide Mouth mason jar. I have it here. Like Eliza, we use it as a piggy bank, but only for coins and pennies. And then every end of the year, we go to coin exchange machine, and then we just pour everything there. And some of the mason jars, unfortunately, they're not here in the house because two of the mason jars that I brought them at my husband's office. There I use it to hold stirrers. It's placed in the coffee section of the office. So it holds stirrers and the sugar and creamer packets, Tom. So one holds a stirrer and one holds those creamer and sugar. And also I remember we used to have the mini ones. Because sometimes when you say mason jar, I just think of like the big ones or the medium ones. But I remember it's also one type of a mason jar, the mini ones. And a friend used them when she made creme brulee. Like that's what she used. So I kept two, and I didn't return it to her because they're cute. And also, like Eliza, we misplaced it when we moved here last year. We have 4 that we used also as our glasses for water or juice or whatnot. Tom?
They were invented, like I said, in 1858 by John Landis Mason. I guess that's why they call them mason jars. And most people use them for canning. Does anybody here use them for canning? Jane, Kathleen, first of all, do they have them in Texas?
Well, Thomas, of course they have mason jars in Texas. In fact, we have quite a bit. But I don't have my mason jar here with me, but I have some pictures that I shared. If I don't know if they can be queued up right now, but one creative way that I found on the internet, and I love using it for myself, is your own DIY cup of noodles. Instead of buying those cup of noodles in the styrofoam, you can just make your own. In fact, it's perfect because you can layer your ingredients like your rice noodles, your fresh vegetables like your basil, lime, spinach, chicken broth, and then pack it in there, layer it, and then when you're ready for lunch, just add some boiling hot water, maybe from like the break room, hot water, and let it sit for about a minute, and suddenly have your instant cup of noodles or instant noodles in a mason jar. Thomas?
Interesting use for them. Interesting use. But again, I want to pose the question, and anybody just jump in at any time here. I want to pose the question, has anybody used them for what the intended purpose was, which was canning fruits and vegetables? Anybody?
Well, Tom, not really vegetables and fruits, but one time I made chili oil. That's what I used to hold it. I made a batch and sealed them in these mason jars and then gave them as gifts. But canning purposes, I haven't. Like maybe pickled radish or pickled mangoes, you can use that for that, but I haven't tried it.
And actually, when my mother used to use them for canning vegetables, it was a very, very involved process. And you've got to be very careful when you're canning stuff to avoid food poisoning, particularly botulism. And you want to keep the air out. So what they used to do is you fill the jar up, and then you'd pour this paraffin wax on top, and it was lighter than the liquid, so it stayed on top, and it would harden. And then you put the glass. They used to be glass lids, not metal lids like they are now, with a rubber ring, and you sealed that up tight. And then when you went to use it, you had to scoop out the paraffin wax. It usually came out in kind of like a hockey puck, and then you could eat your canned goods, be it fruit or vegetables. Anybody ever see that with the wax and so on? It must be a North American thing. These jars were also known by a number of other names. They were called ball jars by some because they were made by the Ball Corporation, which was a glass company that was around the turn of the century. Some people just call them fruit jars. The unimaginative people, well, they call them, you guessed it, glass canning jars. Kilner jars, if you're in England. I guess that's what the Queen would use because the Kilner Company made them. Lightning fruit jars. They were kind of another kind of jar similar to the mason jar. They were kind of the competitor. But anyway, the mason jar basically used for home canning and that's what they were used for. Has anybody ever canned anything here? No, I guess we asked that question.
Well, Tom, I know my sister used it. I don't know if it counts, but she slices like lemons very thinly and pour honey in it, and that's what she mixes with his hot water. That's what she drinks as tea every night.
That sounds good,
very, very relaxing.
That's what
I drink every night on the show here. Just a cup of tea.
Try it in a mason jar, Tom. You know, one more way to use it, Mayanne, when you reminded me, for a quick breakfast fix. So the night before you sleep, you just put on oats, milk, any milk, almond milk, soy milk, or regular milk, and then put a few slices of strawberries or blueberries or any fruit, bananas, maybe a scoop of peanut butter, and then you seal it, put it in the fridge, and then in the morning before you go to work, or if you're in a hurry, just grab it, and then you have it. It is ready to eat. No cooking needed. Just open it and then enjoy it. So it's a pretty good. Try it.
Can you put chia seeds too?
Yes. Chia seeds, yes. You put it, and then in the morning, it's just going to be ready
I need to hoard more now. But I heard Tom and Eliza, I think you mentioned that it's getting expensive now for some reason.
I was going to say there's a COVID connection to this. I mean, it's all COVID all the time now. But there is a COVID connection to the mason jars.
Blame it on the virus, huh?
Yes.
There's a business analysis from Thomas now.
Yes, come on. Spill it, Tom.
There's so many people staying home, and I should have bought shares in the company. There's so many people staying at home and nothing to do, so they're experimenting. People are cooking again instead of just heating. You know, it used to be you just take something out of the fridge, heat it, and lie to people and say, well, I cooked dinner. No, you heated dinner.
That's the reason. But I think you can find a lot also, Tom, and everyone from the thrift stores.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
If you're patient, you can find some from the thrift store.
And the old ones, the really old ones, they're in antique stores. And they fetch a pretty price here. I don't know whether I've got the ones that were made around the turn of the 20th century, they're antiques and they sell for a lot. But yeah, let's get back to the shortage. People are cooking at home, they're canning, they're preserving stuff. So there's a run on these jars. They're very popular. And right now, there's some stores completely sold out. Can't buy them anywhere.
Not to mention, aside from that, Tom, people are into decorating their homes. And it's a good addition to your decor too. For some, they paint it different colors, and then they use it for pencil containers, pen containers, or like plants.
Like a terrarium out of one.
Like lamps.
I've seen like they filled it like with multiple colored sands and like just do art in it, and it's kind of a relaxation.
There's
a million
uses. Maybe also for office supplies, school supplies like pencils, crayons.
Maybe I
Correct,
could get rid of this then.
Yes.
Buy
Get
a
rid of the
mason
plastic
jar.
one.
But have you heard of any shortages down there of mason jars? I know they're short up here in Canada. And the other thing that was hard to find one year was the lids. You could buy the jars, but there were no lids. And again, if you're using them in a culinary sense, if you're using them in the kitchen for canning, what good is the jar without a lid?
Correct. Storage container.
For school supplies.
You use it for office supplies, I guess.
Correct.
But the mason jar, who ever thought, I wonder whether John Mason, when he invented these things, ever thought that they'd be used for anything other than the intended purpose. And it was kind of a brilliant idea to have those screw threads right in the glass. Right in the glass. And what is it, about 3 threads on there, which would have been a bit of a manufacturing challenge back in 1858 when most glassware was made by glass blowers. But to actually mold something and make glass that way was a rarity in that particular time period. We only got a couple of minutes left. Last kick at the cat, and that was no reference to the story at the beginning of the newscast, but last kick at the cat for anybody who's got anything to add. Alec?
Nothing for me. I think I covered everything.
I think we've pretty much exhausted it. Mayanne? Jane Kathleen?
I love how the mason jar usage has evolved over the years.
It's amazing. Find a product and we'll find a secondary use for it. We'll find a secondary use. Eliza, anything else you want to add?
Like I said, I've always been in love with it, and it just has a certain charm to it, don't you think? It's just
right. I think it's a plastic.
It does. And are you taking mail-in contributions for your other one?
I'm sorry. Oh, sure. For some reason, water tastes better if you're drinking from this. I'm just kidding.
I'm going to try it.
I agree.
I think it has the rustic feel.
Yes, there you go. That's the word, rustic. I love it.
My wife said my wife said she's going to buy one for me tomorrow, and we're going to try it and see whether the water really tastes better.
We convince her, Tom. Well, I love how I love learning everyone's purpose or how they're using their mason jars, Thomas. It is such a fun, informative topic. So that makes me want to hoard some more now.
Okay, but we've got to put a lid on this particular discussion. And before we go, I want to take time out now. Let's salute our healthcare workers, our first responders, our essential workers. Times are getting tough for them. You know, we've got this increase in cases, and until it settles down, oh my goodness, we need these people more than ever. All you folks out on the front line, we appreciate you. Come on, gang, let's salute them with a round of applause. We really appreciate you. And that's today's Eagle News America. We thank you for joining us. I'm Thomas I. Likeness, and truly, we live in interesting times.